guys, so moving on to the next mod. One of the things that you guys would have seen last would have been the dyno run after I did the long tube headers from American Racing Headers with the X-pipe and everything. And as you know, I just put the stock mufflers back on. We got a little power. I'm interested to see if I can get any more power by removing the mufflers, because that's easily the most restrictive part of the exhaust before going to any kind of tune. I also thought it was a little bit too quiet, which I wasn't sure. I don't want this thing to be crazy loud. So what I've done, there it is, sitting up in the air ready to go, is I've got some of these NXT mufflers for the C4. These actually, never heard of NXT as a brand, but they look identical to what you would get from Flowtech, which is owned by Holley. So I'm sure they're probably the same thing, or at least made at the same factory. So we'll see how the fitment goes. Got to do some cutting, which was something I was also trying to avoid. I wanted to keep the exhaust as complete as possible, but it is what it is. I'm sure I could do some welding at some point. Would have to get some more stainless steels. This is stainless steel, and so is the long tube headers and all the X-pipe and everything that came with it, but not quite at that point. So for now, we'll just be clamping it in place. But those tips are going to look a lot better, I think, than these stock tips, which I actually don't mind. I know my buddies hate them, but I actually kind of like them. I think they fit the car's look pretty good, and they go along with the wheels really well. But we'll be going to these stainless steel tip mufflers, but more importantly, I think, at least from a couple of the videos I saw of it, it's going to be a little bit louder in the higher RPM, but when you're cruising along and everything like that, it'll still keep it quiet. That's one of the big things I'm wanting to keep, because one of the problems with the C4 is with this big rear window, it just acts as a huge resonator. So if you get too loud with like a straight pipe or something when you're just driving along, I guess it can resonate incredibly bad. So that, again, that's all from what I've heard. I don't know, as I'm just kind of getting into the C4 stuff, so I haven't really experienced that myself, but I'm hoping something like this will keep it a little bit louder when you're really going at it, when you're on the track and stuff, but when you're cruising along in 6th gear, going down the highway or the interstate, it's just humming along. So I guess let's get started. So I've got the exhaust, or the new mufflers, I guess I won't say exhaust because it's not a full exhaust, but I've got the mufflers in place. And what I would say to anyone who's doing this is make sure you cut your mufflers off very short. I did not do that on the first one, as you saw in the time lapse, and now I'm having to scab it together, which really, really sucks. But lesson learned on the other side. Still got some work to line it up. As far as doing the clamps, the band clamps that they sent are fine for the 2 3/4, but which is, as you can see there, one hanging there. They're 2.5 inch don't work. So I got some 2.5 inch band clamps coming in, as well as some additional 2 3/4, so I can finish up that side. But for now, I'll leave it until those come in tomorrow. I think it looks pretty good. And yeah, so definitely cut them short. I didn't think it was going to be that much, or I thought it was going to be a lot more that needed to be cut, but I was way wrong. So that sucks, but I guess let's see how this thing sounds now. I'll start it up and give it a couple revs. So that's it for that muffler install. Like I said, keep your exhaust cuts very, very short. I did pick up one of these Maddox exhaust cutters from Harbor Freight. Definitely recommend that for just making a little bit cleaner cut. I've used sawzalls and angle grinders and stuff before. Angle grinders aren't too bad when you're out of the car, but I had a lot of trouble putting all these, stock, the whole stock end of the exhaust, the axle back version of it, I guess, or whatever you want to say. I had a real hard time putting that in by myself, so I didn't really want to put up with that again. I wanted to leave as much in the car as possible and cut the mufflers off. And honestly, I would say probably just try and cut the exhaust as close as the muffler as you can. Again, you guys saw kind of how I had it, and if anything, make slow cuts, because that would have saved me a lot of heartache, I think, and botchery on my car. But that's it for now. When you guys see the next video, this thing will be racing. So until then, keep it shiny side up.